Hey, how are you? Hey, how you doing?
Thanks for sharing the info there with us.
Listen, I thought it was, I actually have fun with these type of meetings when it's collaborative like that, and there's an exchange of ideas that go back and forth. I mean, it was pretty funny what you said. He's going to take his toys and go home. Oh. That's exactly what happened. That's exactly what happened. So I got this. What you say? Yeah. Do you have a relationship with him? I told him to not come back and get back to me. I did say something. I said, Tim's best thought is like, I said he's in a way, or something like that. And then I said, yeah, and I did say, I said on calls, I think we need to have more. And everybody kind of agreed, but yeah, I hope it doesn't come back and talk.
Yeah, I know. But it sounds like the relationship is going to
Oh, yeah, I mean, it's pretty crazy. Hey, bud, people start on the call. Let me,
I wanted to call you real quick and just really just check see if you need to do anything.
no, I think we're good. I think we're good.
Okay. Sounds good, man.
Talk to you soon.
I'll try to participate as much as I can, and anyways, we'll just go through. I'm excited I'll participate, but really, man, like I just kind of want to soak in what you've got to offer. So I think it's really cool that you're just offering, just being a wealth of knowledge.
Thank you. That's really nice of you to say, bud. Thank you. Hey, Todd, I'm really happy for our friendship. You're a good guy. Sounds good. Bye-bye.
Okay.
Hey, what's up, Derek?
Todd, how are you, buddy?
Good, man. Just living the dream.
Living the dream, are you?
Oh, yeah.
It's good to see you.
You too. Long time no see.
I know. We had a busy morning this morning.
It has been.
Boy, I feel with this pandemic, I'm working harder than ever.
Yeah.
Just don't
We
do the
have
classes live, but just crazy busy.
Yeah. No, we got you. I mean, this is just kind of the new normal.
Yep, it is. All right, guys, we're going to start in about 30 seconds. We're going to start on time, and it is 1 o'clock, so I'd like to welcome everybody. Guys, if you don't mind, I'd like to make the class really interactive. If you guys wouldn't mind putting on your video, I'd like to engage you, and I want you to feel free to ask me questions as we're going through the platform. So I first wanted to just welcome everybody and say thank you for taking the time to spend time with me today in an effort for me to introduce tools and systems that I firmly believe will absolutely impact your business if you choose to implement what is being taught. And I want to say congratulations to you. And I mean this wholeheartedly, because I think in real estate or in life in general, if you always do what you always did, you'll always get what you always got. And I know, I often reflect and listen to people make New Year's resolutions. And what typically happens after a New Year's resolution is they get kicked to the side within 30 days. So I want to congratulate you for taking action in an effort to do something different and learn tools and systems. I can absolutely promise you, having done this for the better part of 20 years, where I've been endorsed by basically every major title company throughout the country, that if you take the tools and systems that are being introduced to you and internalize them and implement them, that you'll absolutely see your business go forward in a positive direction. So again, I want to say welcome. I want to start off the class by saying, I'm going to give you a little bit about my background, but I want to start by saying the following, is that an opportunity is only realized if an opportunity is seized. So I think you're going to get lots of quality information over the course of this coaching class, but it's your ability to take that information and really internalize it that is going to make a difference in your business, and that requires a commitment. It absolutely requires a commitment. I can't tell you that anything is going to happen magically unless you apply the tools and systems. I'm going to ask you to do me a favor. And could we all agree that credibility is something that's hard to come by? Patty, how do you gain credibility with somebody? I'm going to call my friend Patty Norton here. Say it again.
Build trust.
And how do you build trust? Anybody want to jump in? How do you build trust with somebody? If I want to gain credibility and build trust, Jim, how would I do that? Jim Trouse, is it?
Yes, through performance, past performance.
Tell somebody you're going to do something and follow
And do it.
through with it is how you build credibility. You want to lose credibility quicker than you could say 1, 2, 3? How do you think you lose credibility? Tell somebody you're going to do something and don't do it.
You don't do it.
I'm going to ask you to do me a favor. For you, this is your time to excel. This is your time to lead. Take all of the riffraff and move it the hell out of your life. I am going to teach 6 classes to you. Each class is going to be 2 hours in duration. I'm going to teach you 2 lessons in every class. At the end of 6 classes, you are going to have a blueprint how to take your business to the next level and light it on fire. You have agents on the call today like Todd Watkins, like Colette McDonald, that do north of $500,000 a year in gross commissions. Folks, the top agents are always looking to take new tools and systems and implement it into their business. They're always looking for new information and embracing that in an effort to escalate their business. Does that make sense? Why do I teach this class? So I'll give you my background really briefly. I grew up in New York, attended UCLA, and didn't do a whole lot after I graduated. I lived in Hermosa Beach, right on the Strand, and I played beach volleyball. And my goal was to play beach volleyball, master it, and date a lot of attractive women. And I think I kind of mastered that successfully. Unfortunately, what transpired is I was 30 years old and I didn't have much of a career. And begrudgingly, I got into residential real estate. Michael, good to see you. How are you? Got into residential real estate when I was 30 years old, sold 120 homes my second year in the business. This was prior to having internet leads and having a huge team in place. Does anybody remember the market in 1990, 1991? Boy, I'm really dating myself here, aren't I? Anybody? Nobody was in the market in 1990, 1991? All right, so clearly I'm the oldest person on the call today.
I think I was getting ready to go.
Yeah, sorry. I was in middle school.
Boy, oh
Yeah,
boy,
me too.
my day just went south on me. So 1990,
Sorry,
1991 was clearly one of the worst real estate markets of all time. And guys, I didn't have a whole lot to do. I didn't know what the hell I was going to do with my life, just to keep it real with you. So I got into residential real estate, not with the intent to be average. I wanted to do something extraordinary for the first point in time in my life. And the difference between being ordinary and being extraordinary or extraordinary is putting forth this much extra effort. And I know my friend Rich Holzer could address that as a football coach. What you put into something is what you get out of it. So when I got in residential real estate, it wasn't about whether or not I was going to be successful. The question was, how successful was I going to become? Because I was willing to crawl over mountains. Guys, hey, Pedro, do me a favor. Would you mute your phone? Thanks, bud. So I was willing to crawl over mountains or swim through rivers to obtain the success that I wanted to have. And why did I deem that it was important? And I think that we can all agree, when we're not performing at a high level, do we not sit in bed at night and question how the hell we're going to pay our bills? Do we not start asking ourselves these just demoralizing questions, whether or not we're worthy, whether we're disingenuous, whether we're reaching out every day with an effort to reach for the moon and grab the stars? At the end of the day, it became really apparent to me that laying in bed at night and torturing myself was a lot more difficult than simply waking up in the morning and taking action so I could feel a sense of accomplishment. Has anybody in the room ever seen anybody in the room? I can tell I don't do these online very often. I usually am in a live setting. But has anybody here today ever seen the movie Jerry Maguire? Michael, have you ever seen the movie Jerry Maguire? Michael Friedman?
I have, yes.
Do you remember the scene in Jerry Maguire when Tom Cruise realizes that he loves Renee Zellweger and he walks into the room, and who remembers what he says?
You complete me?
You complete me. Is that not one of the greatest and most romantic lines you've ever heard? Well, I'm here to tell you that's the biggest line of horseshit that's ever been created, because nobody in the world completes you. You complete yourself by taking action each and every day and having a sense of accomplishment. And guys, when you do that, you have a relationship with yourself. You're a better lover, you're a better friend, you're a better colleague, you're better because you like the actions that you take. I'm going to ask you to do me a favor. Make a commitment to see these 6 classes through. It's 12 hours, and don't come into the class with any preconceived thoughts or concepts. The reality is that when we try on clothes, if we were to go buy a new jacket, Noel, what happens is you try a jacket on and you see if it appropriately fits. I'm going to ask you to take the tools and systems that I'm going to teach over these 6 classes, 12 lessons, and simply try it on and see how it impacts your business. Does that seem like a fair request? I just want to quickly set expectations for the class. So the nice thing is I don't want you taking lots of notes. I want you to enjoy and take the information that I'm conveying to you and internalize it so you can implement it into your business. What I'm going to do is after each call, I'm going to send you out an email on everything that's been covered in the class. You like that, huh? I'm going to send you an email which is going to cover absolutely everything that I talked about in the class. And the reason I do that is I don't want you to focus on writing, I want you to focus on listening. Does that make sense? In order to get the email, I am going to ask you to participate and be on the call. I don't want you to send me out an email or call me and say, Eric, I couldn't make it. Can you send me the class notes? My answer will be no. I want to feel like we're in a partnership here. I am not charging you for the class. You could all breathe. I am not going to sell you any books. I'm not going to sell you any tapes. All I want you to do is to participate so I can have an impact in assisting you take your business in the direction that you want to take it. Does that seem reasonable? The class is going to be taught Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 1 p.m. Eastern to 3, and then the following weekend. So 2 hours, and like I said, I'm going to teach 12 lessons in each and every class. I'm going to ask you to simply try to approach this learning experience with a sense of passion. And I wrote that down, my definition of what passion is, because I think at the end of the day, being successful isn't about simply having a goal and I'm going to make this much money. And Patty and I talked about this recently. It is about loving what you do and embracing it with a sense of passion, and money is a byproduct of your success and your passion. So to me, passion is the relentless determination to achieve whatever it is that's most important to you. So let's make this a commitment and go at it with a sense of passion. What I'm going to teach is I'm going to quickly go over the syllabus with you, and I'm going to answer any questions, and I'm going to dive into today's 2 lessons. So I'm going to cover the entire gamut. My goal for these 6 classes is to give you a complete franchise, if you will, a template, how to take your business and expand it and to run it with great efficiencies. What I'm going to cover is everything from your buyer and from your listing presentation and your buyer consultation. You will walk away from these 12 lessons knowing exactly how to sell, because at the end of the day, none of us are professional real estate people. What does it say when you got your real estate license? What did you get when you got your real estate license? Anybody know? I love to ask questions. When you got your real estate license, you got what's called a salesperson's license. Listen to me and listen carefully. Selling is about solving people's problems and meeting people's needs. Being a great salesperson is not about being a great orator. It's not about speaking at somebody. Jimmy, what is it about in order to be a great salesperson? What do you need to be really good at?
Listener.
Listening and asking appropriate questions. Guys, you're going to learn how to master the art of selling, because selling is about solving people's problems and meeting people's needs. And the only way to uncover a problem for you to solve it or a need for you to meet it is to ask appropriate questions and be a good listener. Remember, who is in control of a conversation? Somebody who's speaking or somebody who's simply asking questions?
Someone who's asking questions.
Who's in control right now, Will, you or I? Will, who's in control right now, you or I?
You're asking questions, so you're in control.
I could continue doing this for the next 2 hours, couldn't I?
Absolutely.
I just did it again, didn't I?
Yes,
This is called a tie down, isn't it?
it is.
So you're going to learn how to speak in the form of asking questions so you keep somebody engaged. Because folks, why do you think I keep on interrupting my flow here and stopping to engage you? Because if I don't engage, I lose. Nobody wants somebody that's simply talking at them. People want to feel listened. Do you know all of us who are involved and have significant others in our lives? Do you know the point in time where you are engaged with that significant other and you gently want to put your hands around their neck and squeeze a little tightly and say to them, will you just listen to me? Well, folks, then listen to your clients by asking appropriate questions. So you will learn how to sell by not speaking a lot, but by asking thoughtful and pointed questions. In my class, less is more. Less is absolutely more. So you're going to learn how to give a presentation, not by talking, but by engaging. You're going to understand that there are 5 components in a selling cycle. The first one is building a rapport with somebody. Because the first one is building a rapport. And how do you build a rapport? Who knows the acronym, how to build a rapport with somebody?
Ford.
And what does Ford stand for? F-O-R-D. Asking people questions about F.
Family.
O.
Occupation.
R.
Recreation.
And D.
Dreams.
Dreams.
You want to get to know somebody, ask them questions about their family, occupation, recreation, and dreams, because somebody, and that's the first component of a selling cycle, someone is going to do business with you if they like you, if they trust you, and if they deem you as being competent or responsive. Second component of a selling cycle that you will understand is how to test someone's motivation. Very often when someone doesn't want to do business with you, it isn't because they dislike you. It's because they are not motivated, and you could lead a horse to water, but you can't make that horse drink unless you understand what their motivation is. That horse has to be motivated to drink the water. So you're going to understand the motivation of your clients. The third component of a selling cycle is doing what we call a proper needs analysis. And if you ask the right questions, a client will absolutely dictate for you how to serve them and what their needs are. So it's doing a proper needs analysis. Fourth is setting expectations. I did that when we got on the call this morning. I said, this is what I need from you. You need to be on time for my class, 6 classes, and make a commitment. And this is what you could expect from me. So the fourth component of a selling cycle is in fact to set expectations. And the fifth is get a commitment. Listen, you have to know that you're a professional and demand that someone treats you like a professional before engaging in a relationship. You need, hey, Rich, do me a favor, bud. Can you please mute your phone?
Yeah, sorry about that.
No worries. Thanks, bud. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to work with people that are committed to working with you so you can provide a high level of service. So you're going to learn in your listing and buyer presentations the 5 components of a selling cycle. I'm going to give you a drip campaign. Why is having a great drip campaign in place important? Chris Johnson, how you doing? Chris, why do you think it's important to have a quality drip campaign in place? You guys thought you were going to just sit there and listen to me all day. Chris, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Chris, I know you're trying to figure it out. Michael, why is it important to have a good drip campaign in place?
To keep them engaged?
To keep somebody engaged. If you're going to work your rear end off, and I know when I say this word, I'm afraid everyone's going to drop off the line, but if you're going to take the time to prospect, lead generate, and business develop, and build a database, you need a system in place that helps you take those relationships and move them along. You need a process in place that assists you, that is user-friendly in taking those relationships and further forging and cementing them. You're going to properly learn in this coaching class how to isolate, handle, and overcome objections. So I'm going to say something that's probably a little hurtful, but I want you to give this some thought. Can we all agree that you hear the same objections over and over in real estate? Is that a fair assessment? Are you willing to negotiate your commission? I've got a friend in the business. I can't do business with you. I don't want to work with you as the buyer's agent. I want to work with the listing agent. You hear the same objections over and over again. Agreed? What's the definition of insanity, Noel?
Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result.
So if you know that someone's going to give you an objection and that is impeding you from earning a $10, a $15, a $20,000 commission, common sense, guys, would dictate that when you hear that objection, instead of looking at that person like a deer in headlights and getting all flustered and red-faced and nervous, that you look at them with this sense of confidence, so you come off as being competent and knowing that you can extend that olive branch and get them over whatever concern or fear that they're facing. An objection is a pathway to a sale. So Rich Holzer, if somebody said to you, are you willing to negotiate your commission, which you're going to hear over and over again, and quite frankly, if you were a seller and you were interviewing an agent, and then you asked that agent, are you willing to negotiate their commission? And that agent didn't know how the hell to respond, you probably wouldn't do business with that agent. Is that fair? Is that a fair assessment? Watch the difference. When you hear an objection, when you leave this class, you're going to understand how to isolate, and I know there are a couple of people in this call that have worked with me previously. How do you isolate an objection? Please, somebody on this phone call, tell me or I'm going to fall over.
Other than.
Other than. Every time you hear an objection, you first want to isolate it. Jimmy, do you remember why you want to isolate an objection?
So that's just a specific item that you want to
You
put
want to
to the
get
side.
clarity. You want to get clarity, buddy? What is inhibiting somebody or preventing them? What is their obstacle from moving forward so you could address it head on? So when you hear an objection, you could say, hey, other than my professional fee for service, Jimmy, is there any other reason that you wouldn't list your home with me this evening? Now watch, I just isolated it, but now I have to handle it and overcome it. Folks, this is a script that I've internalized and made part of my personality so it doesn't become robotic, it doesn't come off as bull. Watch. Hey, Jimmy, other than my commission, is there any other reason, or my professional fee for service, is there any other reason that you wouldn't list your home with me this evening?
No, that is
Hey,
it.
Jimmy, if I can't negotiate my own professional fee for service properly, do you really want me negotiating your home, your most important asset, on your behalf? Make it hard to me, Jimmy. You know, that other agent, Todd Watkins, said he'd do it for 4%. I understand, Jimmy. Jimmy, if Todd Watkins is so readily willing to cut his commission, how readily willing may Todd Watkins be to cut your asking price when negotiating with the agent that's representing the buyer? Folks, that is a
That's a good question.
script. So when someone says it, instead of getting nervous and red-faced, I'm prepared to extend the olive branch, and I'm not talking at them. An objection is about me asking questions and engaging them. Does that make sense to everybody? You're going to learn how to honor your calendar. We're going to time block your days so you understand that every moment that you waste as a real estate professional is like taking money, rolling it up, and throwing it away into a damn fireplace. Your damn day should be time blocked so you feel a sense of accomplishment knowing that your business is always moving in the right direction. How many of you on the call today would like to build a real estate team?
Me.
You should.
Me.
You should, Jim, because at the end of the day, when do we as real estate professionals make money? Only when we're in front of buyers and sellers, correct? That's the only time, Patty, we can be in a winning situation. So what should you be doing with the bulk of your days? You should be in front of clientele, and your staff should be booking your appointments. Your staff should be managing your calendar, but listen to me. Building a team is like raising children. They will mirror what they see you do. Do you agree, Todd?
Oh, yeah.
Building a team, your team will mirror what they see you do. You can't ask somebody in your team to prospect unless you've mastered the art of prospecting. Otherwise, you're simply setting them up to fail. So I'm going to teach you a step-by-step process, how to build a team and the right qualities to look for. I'm going to teach you 7 different ways to lead generate, prospect, or business develop. And that's how the bulk of your day should be spent. And every moment that you're not lead generating, prospecting, or business developing, you're in fact hurting your business. Listen to me and listen clearly. A real estate business, the strength of your real estate business is predicated solely on the strength of your database. Watch this. If you had Crystal Ellsworth, I'm calling in you, if you had 200 people in your database that you knew with certainty were going to buy or sell within a 2-year period and they were receptive to working with you as their agent, would you not have a high level of comfort putting your head in your pillow at night going to sleep knowing that you've gotten a vibrant business? Crystal, does that make sense what I asked you? People are probably saying, is he going to do this all the time, calling me? Absolutely, because I want to keep you engaged. So the strength of your business is predicated based on the strength of your database. And what's going to happen is each and every moment you're going to value your time and realize when you're not prospecting, what makes somebody a great agent isn't how well you know a real estate contract or disclosures. Guys, those are frickin' templates. I can't tell you how many times somebody will come up to me in a live coaching class and go, Eric, can you help me out? And I'm going, here it comes. I'm a really good realtor. And I go, okay, I give up. What makes you a really good realtor? You go, well, I know that real estate contract inside and out, and I'm great at negotiating. And I know disclosures. Well, a home is worth what a qualified buyer is willing to pay for it. What makes you a great agent is how many people you're in a position to serve. And that happens by prospecting and building out your database. Todd, would you agree?
Definitely. Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to say a lot of it is I find that it gives you confidence too. I mean, if you know you can call people and they're willing to do business with you, it's empowering for sure. It's tough. You just got to take those steps and move forward. But I know that's what this class is all about.
So I'm going to teach you 7 different ways to lead generate, prospect. And I'm actually going to have some guest speakers come on here. There are 3 new techniques that I'm going to teach in this class that I think could absolutely skyrocket your business. Folks, I want to say something to you. It's not a bad market. I know that we're in very uncertain times right now. Nobody knows the direction of the real estate business. If anybody tells you that they know emphatically, what they're doing is they're deceiving you. Because if they knew emphatically what was happening with the real estate business, they'd be lying on a beach somewhere, trading real estate, buying and selling real estate, right? At the end of the day, though, we know that there is uncertainty in the market, which is going to cause a lot of people to sit in the sidelines. If you're committed to taking action, you can build an enormous database during this time. Remember that cream always rises to the top. Take action. Focus on building your database, and your sales will follow. I absolutely promise you. I'm going to help you set your goals through an economic model. I'm going to introduce this today. I think you'll absolutely love what I'm going to cover, because being successful requires you to be very clear about what it is that you want to obtain. What are your goals? What are you clear about? And I like to make the analogy, if I was jumping on a flight today and I was going back to California, would any of you jump on a plane with a pilot that didn't have a flight plan, how to get you from point A to point B? Well, how the hell could you run a real estate business if you don't know exactly what it is that you're trying to accomplish? But not just being clear what you want to do, but having a plan in place and knowing what action you need to take in order to meet those goals. And then I'm going to show you how to track those goals through a performance tracker. I get a kick out of these real estate coaches that are charging people $1,000, $2,500 a month to coach them. Do any of you think that these are professional psychologists? They're not. At the end of the day, a coach is going to hold you accountable. Really? I want you to hold yourself accountable. I want you to find that fire from within. And what I'm going to do over the next six classes is I'm going to help you hone those skills and tame that fire so you can have the success that you want. Does that make sense to everybody? I'm going to jump into your economic model for this class. I'm going to jump into your performance tracker. Then I'm going to talk about the essential tools that you need to have in place in order to take your business the direction that you want to take it. Couple of things when talking about your economic model or your goals. There are 4 things to consider when you're with what your goals are. And again, you're going to get all of this information in an email. So you don't have to feel like you've got to take notes, but 4 things to consider when setting your goals. Number 1 is I want you to communicate your goals to virtually anybody who will listen to you. Your managers, your loved ones, your friends. Why do you think I want you to do that? Why is it important to share your goals?
Accountability.
Say it again, Dan.
Accountability.
You betcha. That's your accountability. What do you think is the biggest human emotion people do to avoid? Anybody want to guess? Fear of rejection. Fear of rejection. Man, I hate it. Don't you just hate when somebody rejects you? What is the second biggest fear you think people have? It's to endure being shamed or embarrassed. And I think when you articulate, when you communicate what your goals are to people, I think you'll run through a wall in order to accomplish them so you don't feel that sense of shame or embarrassment. I want you to share your goals. Number 2, I want you to dream big. Noel, it's as easy to aim high as it is low, buddy. And if your goals are too low, if they're not a stretch, if it's a layup, they become meaningless. So I want you for the first time to reach for the moon and grab the stars. The top agents that are in your markets, I promise you, they sit in the toilet the exact same way that you do. You have the ability to do this if you're able to set your goals high and aim high. The third thing to consider when setting your goals, and this is really important, understand what you want, be clear about it, but understand what you're willing to give up in order to achieve what you want, because life's about trade-offs. You can't sit home and watch Jerry Springer and eat Cheetos and pick your toes and expect to be successful in real estate if you're not taking action each and every day. So decide what it is that you want, but what are you willing to give up? Because I'm going to tell you, there is a trade-off. There is a trade-off, right? So communicate your goals. Stretch, make sure your goals are a stretch. Decide what you're willing to give up. And number 4, I want you to write your goals down. When we complete the economic model, have it at your bedstand and glance at them. I'm not asking you to embrace them, hug them, make love to them. I'm asking you to acknowledge your goals, that they're there, and look at them daily so they're present and they're in front of you. Does that make sense? Anybody have any questions for me as I get into your economic model? Come on, you guys have to.
So Eric, when you talk about goals, are you talking about short-term goals and long-term goals, or are you talking about piecing them together into one?
Great question, Jim. Thank you for engaging and participating. So I'm going to put together your yearly goals, and we are going to be really clear in this call. Not what you fantasize about, not what you dream about, but what are you committed to achieving? And so we're going to put that down. I'm going to show you how to complete it. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you each a half hour. I'm going to do one-on-one coaching class. I don't charge for it. I'm not going to do ongoing coaching with you, so there's no bait and switch here. I'm going to give you a half an hour, and I'm going to go over your goals with you one-on-one, but in a very direct fashion. You probably got that I'm pretty direct. By the way, I'm very humorous, too. That was a joke, guys. You probably think he's very intense. I come at it from this vantage point different than other coaches because I'm so sick and tired of realtors running the business as a hobby and not as a profession, and then saying, my clients don't respect me. Well, shit, how can they respect you if you're not running your business as a profession? You dictate how people treat you based on the actions that you take. That's why I'm so insistent that when somebody joins up in a coaching class, that they are on time. When they walk into my class 2 minutes late, you would think I have Tourette's with a bad tick. It starts with how we go about, Jim, how we go about setting up our business. It starts with honoring our calendar and being clear with what it is that we want to accomplish. Any other calls before I get into the economic model? You are going to receive the economic model in your inbox tonight. If you have a problem filling it out, I want you to call me on my cell phone. Don't email me and don't text me, okay? I'm much better on the phone and answering your questions. My cell phone number is the following. You can write this down. It's I don't know how to do this chat. Chris Qual, are you on the phone? Are you on the phone? Are you on the Zoom? Can you put my cell phone number? I could probably figure this out.
I can do it for you, Eric.
Thanks, bud. 415-595-9000. You can tell I'm really new to the Zoom thing. Can you do it?
Repeat it one more time.
415.
Yeah.
595.
Okay.
9000 is my cell phone. If you guys get stuck, please, it would be my honor to help you. There's no such thing as a silly question. The only thing that's silly is when you have something that's impeding your success and you don't take action. So if you get stuck in the economic model as I go through this, simply reach out. And then what's going to happen is we're going to send you out a calendar invite. And I'm going to meet with all of you for a half hour and be really clear about your goals and help you work through it. Make sense? Any other questions before I get into the economic model?
Let's do it.
Woo! Love it. I got to tell you, this is the first class I've done in a while. I feel really good being back in the game. I know this is a different way for all of us to do business, but love the fact that you guys are here participating. I thought I was ready to jump off the balcony if this sort of continued much longer. So I'm happy that everyone's here.
I'm
And I'm
excited.
going to pull up, I'm going to pull up the economic model here. So how do I, okay, so we're going to go share screen. Okay.
Hey,
I
so
know.
far so good.
Very impressive, huh, guys? Can everyone see the economic model in front of them?
Yes.
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 Okay.
Yeah, we see the spreadsheet there.
Yeah.
Excellent. Let's go through this. All right, this is the economic model. You're again going to receive this in your inbox this evening. A couple of rules about the economic model. So the model populates by itself. You are only going to input in where you see blue, in the blue inputs legend. I am going to ask somebody on the call today 12 questions. The 12 questions that I'm asking correspond. Can you see the number 1, 2, 3, 4? Do you see the pyramid in the model? Somebody say yes, because I can't see you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so what we're going to do, you guys remember the old game, color by numbers? I'm going to ask 12 questions. I'm going to color by numbers and input wherever you see the number one, wherever you see a number. So I'm going to start off at number 1, go to 2, 3, and work my way up when I ask 12 questions. Second aspect is the model, again, does populate by itself. Things are calculated. Here on the right-hand side, that tells you what is being calculated. I am going to ask somebody on the call today to participate in helping fill out the economic model. The nice thing in being able to lead the call, if somebody does not, if somebody doesn't just say, hey, I'd like to participate, I get to call on you. So I'm hoping that somebody will participate in the economic model with me. Would anybody like to do their model in front of everybody else on the call today?
I will.
Who is that?
Patty.
Patty, excellent. Patty, I'm going to ask you 12 questions.
Okay.
I'm going to ask you to be as succinct as possible so we can get through the questions. Again, the 12 questions I'm going to ask are on the right-hand side, and I'm simply going to go into the model and I'm going to build out. I'm going to put in the answers. I'm going to put in the answers that you provide to me. So Patty, in front of all of the 50 or 75 people in today's call, don't want to put too much pressure on you here. Not what you dream about, fantasize about. How much money are you committed to making over the next 12 months? Netting.
$500,000.
Okay. So if you could all see, I'm going to go right into the model, and I am going to put $500,000. Can everyone see that I'm typing that in here?
Yep.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So Patty's committed, not what she fantasizes about, but Patty is committed to netting, pardon me, $500,000 over the next 12 months. Patty, question number 2 is, what are your operational expenses to put a buyer or seller into contract or under contract? What I mean is the following. This is not your split with your broker. This is nothing other than your operational expenses. What does it cost you operationally when you're working with a seller? There are your lock boxes, your signs. When you're working with a buyer, it's your gas. What do you think it costs you operationally on a percentage basis to successfully put a buyer or seller under contract? I'll give you a rule of thumb. Typically, it's somewhere between 2 and 7%, depending on what state you live in and how elaborate you are with your marketing. But what do you think it costs you operationally on a percentage basis of your commission to put a buyer or seller into contract?
You know, I'm going to go with about 5%.
Excellent. Thank you again for doing this exercise with me.
Mm-hmm.
Third question I'm gonna fill in for you, and it's the cost of sales. And I know that we have people on this Zoom call that are from different brokerages. So I'm just gonna pick a number. I'm gonna be somewhat politically correct today, and I'm gonna pick a number here and say that most people are on an 80-20 split. So I'm gonna put in your cost of sale is how much of your commission are you paying to your broker. So it is your actual split. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Now watch what happens. When I click out of the box, Patty's cost of sale is 20, her expenses are 5. Again, the model populates. Look what happens to the assumption and the gross revenue when I click out of the box. Again, the model populates. It now shows us that Patty has 25% expenses. So in order for Patty to net $500,000, she has to gross $666,667. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yes.
This is really important. I asked you an analogy before, and I said, would anybody get on a plane with a pilot that didn't have a flight plan? Well, I want to ask you, are we now starting to see that Patty's business has some form or a plan to it?
Yes.
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 Excellent. Patty, on the left-hand side, you're going to see this is your seller's column. This is your seller's column. On the right-hand side, this is your buyer's column. I'm going to continue asking you questions, and I'm again only inputting into where I see the color blue next to the number.
Okay.
Patty, what percentage of your business do you think will come from representing sellers or taking listings?
I do about 50-50.
Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put 50% right here. Watch when I click out and buyers, it's simply going to populate. It's going to be 50-50. Does that make sense to everybody? Question number 5. Patty, what is your professional fee for service or your commission when working with sellers?
2.5.
Excellent. Okay. Question number 6. I'm going to move over to the buyer's column. Question number 6. Patty, what's your commission or your professional fee for service when working with buyers?
It's the same, 2.5.
Excellent. Thanks. We're halfway done. Okay. Question number 7. Patty, what's your average sales price when working with sellers?
1.4 million.
Jesus, everybody on the call is now going to be moving to California. It is $1.4 million.
Let's go.
That's where the money's at.
All right. Patty, what's your average sales price when working with buyers?
I'm going to do 1.2 million.
Okay, 1.2 million. Okay, question number 9. Listen carefully to the question that I asked Patty. Patty, when you go out on a listing presentation, what percentage of the time are you successful at securing that listing?
95%.
Okay. I am going to give you lots of prospecting activities. So I know that many of the agents that exist throughout the United States get their business from what we call their warm market. It's all referral based. I am going to, for the purpose of this coaching class and how I built my business, is a lot of your business is going to come from your cold market by taking on additional prospecting or business development activities. Patty, I'm going to use a more conservative number for people on the call, if you don't mind, because again, I think that number is going to come down significantly if you're doing what I call a lot of cold prospecting to build out that funnel of buyers and sellers.
Good.
I'm going to put in here 75%.
Okay.
Does everyone on the call feel comfortable with what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You guys can unmute and engage.
Yes.
I'd say it would depend on the lead source.
So what I'm saying is we're going to do lots of cold lead sourcing.
Okay, yeah, because I'm saying, because like for me on FSBOs, I know that for every 5 that I talk to, I'll set a face-to-face appointment, but then every 5 that I go visit, I'll typically get 1 listing. But I know that that's specifically to just for sell by owners. So really, it's only like a 20% conversion ratio.
Todd, you're an icon agent with you do massive business each and every year. What is your your average conversion ratio? I'm just trying to get an overview for the call.
Yeah, probably overall, I'd say it's 1 and 2.
Okay, so it's about 50%?
Probably closer to 50.
So when not on prospecting, on an actual listing presentation.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. If we're just saying listing presentations only, I guess I'll be a little more conservative. Let's just say it's closer to 33%.
Wow.
Every 1 and 3.
Interesting. Anybody else have any data that they want to share? I'm going to share with you, and
Yeah.
I'm going to give you your listing presentation. You're going to see it go up significantly. Vicki Jackson, are you on the call?
Yeah, if it's just listing presentations, it seems like it's higher. I agree with Todd, it's probably 2 to 1.
I'm on the phone.
Vicki, Vicki's another mega agent in California. Vicki, what is your conversion ratio when you're out on listing presentations?
Probably 90, 95.
Okay. Colette, are you on? Colette McDonald.
Yeah, sorry, I had to unmute myself. Mine's about 95%.
Okay, so you got some mega. I mean, the 3 people I just called on are massive agents. Colette's the #1 agent in Atlanta. I'm going to put in here for the sake of the call, I'm going to put in 70%, guys. Okay? Okay. Question number 10, and I need your input on this.
The numbers.
Patty, when you meet with a buyer, and I don't believe you ever go from conversation to car. I believe that when you meet with a buyer, how the hell do you sell somebody, whether it's a $200,000 house or a $1.2 million house, without looking them in the eye and understanding their body language, without setting proper expectations around a working relationship, without you clearly understanding what their buying needs and wants are? My question is the following. Patty, when you sit down with that buyer and you go through your buyer's consultation, not a presentation because you're asking questions. When you go through your buyer's consultation, what percentage of the time when you meet with a buyer face-to-face do you and that buyer elect to work together in a committed working relationship?
Well, based on what we've done so far, I mean, I'm going to say maybe a tad higher than the listing presentation, but not much.
Agree.
So maybe 75.
Okay, excellent. Okay, 2 more questions and you're done.
Obviously not.
When you take a listing, what percentage of the time does that listing actually sell?
Almost every time. Yeah, geez, 90 seems kind of low on that. I mean, in California, everything sells.
It is. There are going to be times, especially coming into an uncertain market, where you may be working on short sales. Why don't we say 90, 95%? Are you comfortable with that?
Yes.
But I can assure you that Patty is not taking crazy overpriced listings. That makes sense. So Patty's conversion ratio, we're going to say, is 90%. Okay? Patty, last question. Question number 12. When you are working with a buyer in a committed relationship, you want to work with the buyer wants to work with you, what percentage of the time are you successful at identifying and closing on a subject property? Could take 6 months, a year, but you're locked into that relationship, and ultimately, and that's the operative word, ultimately you wind up identifying and closing on a property.
I'm going to say it's 90 as well.
Excellent. All right, guys, let's look at Patty. Patty now has a model in place, and you tell me if Patty is now set up for success and if this would benefit your business. So for Patty to net $500,000, Patty has to make $666,667.
Thank God for that 7. Wow, 6
again?
there. Sorry.
Yeah, that 7's completely threw me off. That 7 completely threw me off. So in order for Patty to make $500,000, she's got to make, I'm going to make it easier on myself, 666,667. Patty has to go on monthly appointments. Patty has to go on meet with. This doesn't mean secure. Patty has to meet with, if you look on the top left-hand side, she has to meet with 1.26 sellers a month. Is that clear to everybody?
Yes.
Patty has to meet, again, not put in a contract, Patty has to meet with 1.37 buyers a month. Patty actually has to take less than 1 listing a month. She's got to take, secure 0.88 and put into contract 1.03 buyers. So if you add the buyers and the sellers here, Patty essentially has to do a little less than 2 transactions a month in order to gross $666,000 and put $500,000 in her pocket. I'm going to focus on the appointments though. Patty has to go on 1.26 listing appointments, and meet with 1.37 buyers. Patty or anybody else on the call today, how long do you think your average listing presentation or buyer's consultation should take you?
40 minutes.
Anybody else? Good.
How long should it take you?
Yep, Todd, most amount of time you spent in a buyer or seller, with buyer or seller, consultation or presentation?
I'd like for it to be a half hour or less.
Excellent. Anybody else on the call?
Yeah, 30 to 40 minutes.
Love it.
Hour tops?
Love it. Anybody spending more than an hour on a listing presentation or buyer consultation?
I used to.
Yeah, you need to rework that.
Yeah.
We can all agree that we've always been around some type of these pushy salespeople, and they say to us, you know, there's a window of opportunity, and if you don't take action now, that window is going to close. Well, folks, listen to my message. If you are spending more than an hour on a presentation, a listing presentation or buyer consultation, the window of opportunity is going to expand for you to put your foot in your mouth. And it's very normal. The more we speak, the more we increase the percentages of making a mistake. Limit your time to 1 hour on a presentation. Patty, for you to make 660,000 gross, you have got to go on, citing the example I just gave. If each presentation, I'm going to say, is an hour, you've got to spend about 2.5 hours a month going out in appointments. Patty, can you and I agree that you're only in a winning position when you're on these appointments? It's the only time you can earn an income when you're in a listing presentation or buyer consultation, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so we've just established Patty is only in a winning position when she's in front of a client. Patty, how many hours do you work a week as a real estate professional?
Oh my goodness, a lot. I'd say 50, 60.
I'm going to go with 50 hours because it's easier. The numbers are easier in my head. So if Patty is spending, and I know Vicki Jackson, you're doing the same thing. You're probably spending 200 hours a month, right? Working your business. Is that fair?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, at least, yeah.
So watch. Patty, right now, in order to make 666,000, you've got to go on 2.5 hours of appointments a month. If you're spending, I'm writing this down, if you're spending 200 hours working as a real estate professional, and you're only spending out of those 200 hours, 2.5 hours on a presentation, doing presentations, what percentage of the time are you putting yourself in a winning position to actually sell and make money? What, in other words, what is 2.5% of 200?
1%.
It is. It's about 1.25%. I'm going to ask you a question, and I don't say this to be mean. Vicki, you've heard me ask this before. If you were the sales manager at Apple, if you were the sales manager at Audi, I'm looking at everything on my desk here. If you were the sales manager at Zephyr Hills Water, and your salespeople were spending 1.25% of their time actually putting themselves in a winning position and selling, what would you do? You would fire their ass, would you not?
Probably.
Come on.
Absolutely.
I mean, how many corporations do you think allow their salespeople to spend less than 1%, 5%, or 10% of their time selling? Patty, what would happen to your business if you actually spent 4% of your time selling? Do you want to hear something crazy? You'd make over $1.2 million and put $1 million in your pocket. And that's no bullshit. That's no BS. The numbers don't lie.
Mm-hmm.
So what I want you to do, everybody on the call today, is have this economic model in place so you're really clear what it is that you have to accomplish, you're going to accomplish, but also what action items or activities you have to take in order to exceed those expectations. Patty, your model is complete with the exception of one thing, and this is for everybody on the call as well. I want each of you tonight to have a glass of wine, have a cup of coffee, put your feet up on the couch, and I want you to understand your why. What is at risk for you, Patty, if you don't hit this number? What's at risk for you spiritually? What's at risk for you emotionally? And what is at risk for you financially? if you don't achieve what it is that you set out to achieve. And please, guys, don't intellectualize this process. Well, I want to go on more trips. Oh, bullshit. Come on. How does it make you feel that you can't go on those trips? What does that do when you're not feeling good about yourself to the level of communication? I want you to understand your pain point. And I don't do this to be mean, malicious, or sadistic. I want you to be really clear. What is your why? So when the days happen, and I have these days too, where you don't want to take action, you feel compelled to take action because you're a professional and your why is so clear that you'll walk through a damn wall in order to achieve what it is that you want to achieve. Really important for you to fill out the model. Now, I'm long-winded. I could fill out this model with you in 5 minutes. You need to be introspective. Again, don't intellectualize this. Use your emotion. What's going to hurt you? What's at risk if you don't perform at the level that you expect to perform at? Is that clear to everybody?
Yep.
Questions, comments? I'm going to stop sharing for a second and I'm going to continue with the performance tracker, and you're going to absolutely love this, but I want to engage you for a second. Feedback on what I just went over, the economic model. Talk to me. This is your class, guys. I'm here to facilitate it. At the end of the day, it's your business. What's your feedback for me? Everybody, Jerry Dalton, Bobby, PLTSE, Phil, engage me.
Eric, this is a roadmap, which is good. Now we have something to follow. We know exactly what we need to do, what we need to do on a daily basis, on a monthly basis to reach our goals. So this is awesome.
Excellent. Any questions, anything you don't like about the model? I want to flush out anything that's going to impede you from being successful. Pedro, how you feeling about this? Does it make sense to you?
It is a great motivation tool, Eric. It motivates me to go out and spend my time in that positive attitude, knowing that I can make my dreams come true.
It's a clear roadmap. You are a pilot. You are the one that takes the direction of your business and pushes it in whatever direction you choose to. You now have some clarity to your business, not only what you're going to accomplish, but how you're going to go about doing it. Does that make sense?
I do have a comment on the tracker. A bigger question for me would be, how many people do I have to talk to get that appointment? So I know how many appointments I have to go on, but if my conversion rate based on the number of people I talk to is 20%, that would be another number I would really want to know.
It's a great question, and you're at least a class ahead of me, but it's a really, really good question. I'm going to show you something. So I'm going to go back to this for a second. It's really smart what Patty just said. So there's a prospecting tracker. You see here at the very bottom of the page?
Okay.
So what we're going to do is we're going to track your activities, so you're going to be able to identify how much time you're spending prospecting, what method is best working for you, and how many contacts you have to make in order to have a certain amount of potential clients. It's a great question, Patty. You were way ahead of me on that, though. Excellent.
Hey, Eric, it's Michael Smansky in Phoenix.
Hey, Michael, what you doing, buddy? It's
Good, man. I just wanted to say the economic model makes a lot more sense to me now in 2020 than it did when we met back in 17 when we were doing it here in Phoenix. So.
Gotcha. Michael, am I a lot grayer now than I was in 2017?
Both of us.
Okay. Sorry, guys, I had to inject some humor. I'm like so wrapped tight. All right, I'm gonna go back to the performance tracker. So if you remember, when we completed Patty's economic model, Patty has to go on 1.2 listing presentations a month. She's got to go on 1.37 buyer presentations. She actually has to take 0.88 listings, and she has to put into contract 1.03 buyers. Watch what happens when you go into your performance tracker. All it did is it mirrored in the left-hand column Patty's listing appointment goal. She has to go on 1.26 appointments every month. Make sense? Patty has to take 0.88 listings every month. So what we're going to do at the end of every month, and this takes 3 seconds. I mean, I'm really trying to understand why somebody would pay a real estate coach $1,000 or $2,000 when you could do this yourself, and watch how easy this is. It takes 5 seconds. At the end of every month, Patty is going to come into her performance tracker. And what color do you input into?
Blue.
Patty's going to put in her actual number. So if Patty went on, let's say 3 listing appointments, watch the next column, Patty's going to have a positive variance, meaning Patty is ahead of her goal by 1.74 listing appointments, right? What does that indicate to Patty, to myself, and to everybody listening? What is Patty obviously doing a good job doing?
Setting appointments.
Getting listings.
Setting appointments, guys. She's prospecting. She's doing the most important thing there is to do in any sales business. She is business developing and getting the appointments. Way to go, Patty. Conversely, if Patty shot a 0, what does that indicate? What did Patty do? Well, maybe Patty went away on vacation, but Patty clearly did not focus on her business, and she would have a negative variance of 1.26. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
So by putting in the actual number, we could see what is working for Patty and conversely what's not working for Patty. Patty has to take 0.88 listings a month. If Patty is taking a listing, she would have a positive variance. She would be ahead of her listing goal. But what does this tell us if Patty is not capturing on her listings, on her listing appointments? She's getting the appointments, but she's not securing. What do we need to work on with Patty?
Presentation.
You have to work on Patty's presentation skills, and we're going to give Patty her listing presentation and work on objection handling. So this tells us what Patty's strengths or perhaps what some of her weaknesses may be in her business, so we could address them head on and not simply swipe them under the rug, right? So you're going to put in here how many listings that you actually took, and it's going to show your variance. Every month, in order for Patty to grow $666,000 and put $500,000 in her pocket, Patty said 50% of her business comes from listings. Patty's going to have to make $27,778 every month. In the next column, Patty is going to put in the actual dollar amount, the check that her broker gave her for her listings commissions, right? So if Patty, let's say, made $29,000, Patty would have a positive variance. She'd be ahead of her monthly goal by $1,222 or 4.21%. Is this clear to everybody?
Yes.
Now listen to me. For those of you on the call, please, please do not get hung up on $27,778 a month. It would bother me looking at that number and thinking, God, that's a huge responsibility to wake up and have that type of pressure. Guys, I don't know how to say this other than the following way. That number is bullshit. That number is meaningless. This number of Patty hitting $27,778 is simply a byproduct of Patty going out there and taking action and securing the appointment and then converting, winning that business. I want you to focus on the appointment, not the dollar amount. The dollar amount is a byproduct, again, of Patty taking action and securing the appointment and then being able to convert when she's on the appointment. So Patty, I want your focus to be not 27,778, but going on 1.26 listings a month and taking 0.88.
Honestly, it brings $500,000 that much closer in my mind. It's unbelievable. That's like that's nothing, right? 1.2 and
so what would happen, Patty? There's no such thing as going on 1.26 appointments because there's no such thing as having 1.26 persons, right? What would happen if you met with 2 people a month? Let's say all of you listening to the call today, you never round down, you round up. What would happen to Patty's business if she went on 2 listing appointments a month and actually took 1 listing?
She doubles her money.
She would make more money. That's absolutely correct, Pedro. So folks, you don't have to pay a real estate coach any money. You now have a model to look at what's working for you or not working for you in your business. If you're not getting listing appointments, you're not spending enough time prospecting. If you're not converting on the appointments, you're not you're speaking too much and not asking appropriate questions, and we need to enhance your presentation skills. But you no longer have to wait 9 months into the year and go, oh crap, my business isn't on track. You get to be the captain of your own ship and determine what's working for you, not based on what you think or what I think, but what the numbers are dictating to us. That's why I laugh at coaching sometimes. You can see clearly what the strength or weakness of your building is and modify accordingly without having to pay anybody by simply tracking each and every month. You're going to do the exact same thing with your buyers. Patty has to meet with 1.37 buyers. These are the actual buyer appointments that she went on. She's going to put it in here. It's going to show her variance. She's got to put into contract 1.3. She's going to actually put in the actual number of people that she put in a contract. It's going to show the variance. This is her buyer's goal. So she hits that $666,000 number. She's going to put in her actual buyer's commission, and it's going to show her on a monthly basis her variance in both a dollar and a percentage basis. And lastly, in this model, every month, and there's nothing that you have to do here, this is going to give you a very quick, it's a snapshot of your business. Again, Patty has to make $555,556 each and every month in order to make that $666,000. What's going to happen? It's going to pull from what Patty has inputted her buyers and sellers commission, and it's going to put the number in here for Patty and show Patty in a snapshot whether she is ahead of her monthly goal and a dollar and a percentage basis. If you don't like what you see, it should hurt you. It should impact you. You should not feel good about it, which will drive you to take more action. Questions, comments, and concerns? What do you guys think?
Yes, it's a great model. That's all I can say. It's like absolutely beautiful.
You don't have to, guys, pay for coaching. It's so unnecessary. You get to coach yourself, and all you have to do is maintain that fire in your belly by asking yourself, what does it cost you to not take action and be successful? No coach gets to feel that. You feel that for yourself, which is why I want you to be really clear about your why and track. If you don't like what you see, you should go to your why, which is in your economic model, and think you have a choice to make. You could either do nothing and maintain all of these negative thoughts or feelings, or you could choose to get up in the morning and take action and make each and every day your masterpiece, so you could have the results that you ultimately want, that you ultimately need, and quite frankly, that all of you desire. We're all human beings trying to figure out this crazy game of life. And when you have those results, you like yourself better. You're better in the world. You know, I was thinking about this the other day, and I was in the car and I'm driving around and somebody cuts me off, and immediately the middle finger goes up and bop, 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 bop. You realize at the end of the day, it had nothing to do with that other person, right? What it has to do with is the crap that we have going on in our own life. And if you want to remove that crap, have a sense of accomplishment each and every day. It allows you to wear a smile a lot easier when you like yourself based on the actions that you take. Does that make sense to everybody?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to get into the essential tools document. Why don't we take a 5-minute break? I'm going to have a little water. And 5 minutes, I'll see you back on the call. Is there any input or anything anybody wants to say prior to taking a break? Any questions?
Just
comments?
one question.
Please, Jim.
So here's one of the problems that I face is that I was actually a realtor in another state. I moved to this state. I really knew what my numbers were because, unfortunately, contrary to what you just told me, I paid a lot of money to do exactly what you're talking about right now with a coach. The problem was it's a different market, different clientele. The numbers were different. The prices were all different. So I really don't know, for example, what my numbers in this new area are. So when I'm coming up with the model, what number should I use? Kind of a blend between the two, the old, or, I mean, I don't know.
It's a great question. Jim, you're a bright guy. I want you to be resourceful. So you ready? I would sit down with my broker, gather that information. I jump in the MLS, get that information, and you pay association fees to your local board. You could gather that information in less than 30 seconds.
Okay, I've got that information, so.
Say it again, buddy.
I was thinking more about contacts and stuff like that. So, I mean, I know what the average sale is around here. I know based on experience somewhat, you know, what my actual close rates are and all that, but it's a little bit different. You know, the prices of homes are a lot more out here, but I spend a lot more time with clients out here than I did in Chicago, for example.
Good for you. That means you're going to make more money because you're in front of clients more often. But I am going to spend the next class is going to be on one topic. I'm going to go through 7 or 8 different ways for you to lead generate so you can build out that all important database. But in terms of the solid metrics, you know, I live in California. Well, now I live in Florida, but I want you to, I would gather that information. I can't give that to you, but you can gather that from the board of your broker. Jim, who are you with? What brokerage are you with?
Sorry, EXP.
Excellent. I mean, you can get that from the state broker. I mean, especially the EXP information is readily available.
Right.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
So go to your state broker and gather that information ASAP. Anybody else? Questions or comments, guys? Don't feel embarrassed or shy to ask a question, please. I want this to be time well spent when you leave this call thinking this was great information. So
I was just going to add on that this is, by doing this pro forma up front, it really helps set the goals for the rest of the year. It is, it's really empowering. As long as you time block, like you said at the beginning, and continue to fill out the pro forma, there isn't any reason why you shouldn't succeed.
Thanks, bud. Thank you. Anybody else?
Yes, my name's Eric. I had come on late and I got to see kind of the end of this pro forma that you were setting up. Have no idea exactly. I understand what it's doing, but is this a form that you have available for the people in the class, or is it something we purchase?
Everything is free. Everything is free. I don't want your money. I'm looking to build relationships with people. I love this industry. I was a top producing agent my second year in the business, and I want to be able to feel like I believe the more I give, the more I receive. So I don't want any money for it. I'm willing to give you all the tools. If you missed part of the call, I believe that Chris Pasquale has recorded this. I'll only make the recording available to people who participated on the call. The only thing that I ask going forward is that everybody is on time when we start this call. You know, I fly around the country, and if I can be prepared and ready to provide you the information, I want you guys to please be prepared to receive that information. So going forward, I'm gonna ask when the class starts, everybody please be on the call, but Eric, no problem at all. I'll make sure that whatever you missed is sent out to you. And I'm also gonna do a one-on-one with everybody on the call and go through your economic model with you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else?
Noel.
Hey,
Eric,
Noel.
how are you?
Good, buddy. How you doing, pal?
Good. No, I love it because it's very simple. It kind of makes like your goals. It gives it a number. So like as Patty said, that it makes that a dollar amount that you want to make seem more achievable because you see what you need to do, how many appointments, how many people you need to talk to, and it just makes it very simplified that you just putting a number to what you want, and then you got to hit that number every single month. And as you said, don't worry about the monthly income. You can do the monthly numbers of appointments and prospects. Then you'll get that monthly income to come as well.
That's right. No, if you want to do more money, if you want to make more money, you just go on more appointments. It's the appointment. Again, it's the appointment and performing or converting. The money is a byproduct. Absolutely. Anybody else before we take a 5-minute break? Good. All right, guys, 5 minutes.
Understood. Thank you for saying that. So, the comment was that the property, that the taxes, prices actually too high. Well, let me ask you this: have you? There are a lot of costs involved in housing insurance, escrows, compared to what you were enforced. Have you spoken to a lender yet? Help evaluate the percentage? Oh, and so have you seen the incident of the house yet? Did you say $49,000? So why? I mean, it's so unusual. Were you did a conventional or conventional? Oh, that's good. Okay, so you want this. Would the seller take back any? Would the seller hold any paper and take back any money or contribute towards your purchase price? Have you asked? Have you asked? All right, well, why don't you look on our site? We are a buyer's agent like her. So if we use her, she'll be compensated. I wouldn't. Is she presenting enough homes to you to see, or are you not seeing all the ones you want? Yeah. Absolutely. Location, location, location. What I was saying is that is your agent showing you enough homes, or are you finding homes outside of her search to satisfy or no, it is what it is. But I'm curious why her search is not presenting you all the homes that you're interested in.
All right. Oh. Will, how you doing, bud?
I'm doing great, Eric. How's everything?
Good. How was the weekend?
Crazy, but that's good.
It is. It's good to see you, buddy.
Likewise, likewise.
I got to tell you, I love this call. There's so many people on the call that I know today that I consider friends, and I really don't know what the hell I would do with myself if I didn't have this class to teach. So, hey guys, I'm going to ask Chris Bacqual, who is. Want to thank Chris. Chris is responsible for helping to build the class and has put together all of the marketing materials. What I'd love to do is I'd love to be in a position to help more agents all the time. And if you liked today's class, or you think there's value in the content that's being provided, I don't know, I'm not very good with social media. What I'm going to ask Chris to do is, if you like the class, perhaps post something on a Facebook page or I guess you can't post on Instagram, but if you like the class, I'm hoping that you could let other agents know about the class, because we'd like to be in a position to help as many people as possible. All right, halfway done with today. Class is going to be over in 40 minutes. I'm going to go over the essential tools that you need to have in place. So why I think the essential tools are important is a car doesn't run without gasoline, right? What is a car? A car is a vehicle that simply takes you from point A to point B, and you need to have certain vehicles or certain tools in place that will allow your business to flourish. So for the next 40 minutes, I'm going to go over the essential tools document. Before I do that, is there any questions, comments, or concerns that anybody has? Cool. All right, as I get into this document, what I want to talk to you about is the following. So anything that's worth anything is in fact worth working for. I am going to give you some homework assignments. I'm not doing this to create more work for you. I'm doing this to get you introduced to some tools and systems that will significantly and positively impact your business. Some of what I'm going to ask you to do is to internalize, not memorize, and I'm being very careful the way I use that word. When you memorize, could we agree that we sound robotic? We don't want to do that, because people see BS coming a million miles away. I don't want you to sound like Eric Orland. Each and every one of you have a beautiful inner child. Let that inner child speak. I want you to take the tools that I'm going to introduce to you, or some of the scripts, and internalize it so it becomes part of your personality. And why this is important is the following reason. When you're out in your community and you speak with a level of confidence, people are simply going to perceive you as being competent. So I do want you to internalize scripts so you can control conversations, so you can gather information, and so you could stay on track. Really, really important. Really important. And it's going to take some time how to internalize these scripts so it's comfortable for you. Okay? Let me pull up the essential tools document and we'll be good to go. That's the wrong document. Okay, guys. As this is opening, I'm going to share my screen with all of you. Okay, so again, this is what I call the essential tools documents. And these are tools that you want to have in place as you're getting either ready to either launch your real estate business or to take your business to the next level. And I think that it is really critical. I'm going to not inundate you. I'm going to go over about 9 different items on this template. If you have any questions, please, again, let's maintain this class being interactive. Feel free to jump in, stop me, and ask me any questions, okay? But again, these tools are absolutely imperative so you could drive your business in the direction that you want to take it. Number 1 is branding. Any brokers on the call today before somebody wants to shoot me? Listen, nobody is doing business with you because of who you're affiliated with, your broker. They are doing business with you, buyers and sellers, because they like you, they trust you, and they deem you as being competent and responsive. You need to focus on building your own brand. So everything that you send out should have your name, face, logo, and tagline on all items. And I mean not just your business cards and your stationery, but I even had this on my open house directional. Why not create a human billboard? Every time somebody sees your name, face, logo, and tagline, remember, what you're doing is you are hammering away on your brand. Remember that repetition is the mother of learning. The more people see your name, the more people see your face, the more it's in front of them, the more they sync up when they have the need to either purchase real estate or sell real estate, they immediately think of you. I'm sure you could all see on the screen, the biggest brand in the world, by far, by the way, is Coca-Cola. McDonald's is the second biggest brand in the world. Think about this for a second. Take a step back and think about this. Doesn't it seem that if we put on the TV, we're almost guaranteed to see a Coca-Cola ad or a McDonald's ad in the half hour we're watching. Why is that? Because both of these mammoth, best branded companies in the world want you to sync up. When you're thirsty, think of Coke, or hungry, think of McDonald's. If they could spend the time, money, and effort branding, the question is, shouldn't all of you? Everything that you do going forward, any marketing materials, your name should be highlighted and your broker's name should be minimized. It is you that the public is buying, and you take that with you anywhere you go, regardless of whom you affiliate with. Does that make sense? Number 2 is a website with MLS capabilities. Guys, everybody on your website, everybody that you're engaged with should be driven to your website. That's where they should go to gather information. This is, again, is a huge branding this is a huge branding opportunity for your business, where you're the one that's providing relevant and pertinent information as it pertains to their interest in real estate. So I was one of the founders of Movoto, Movoto.com, really familiar with the model. You don't want people going to Movoto or Trulia or Zillow or Realtor.com for real estate information. You want to solidify the relationships with your prospects, your buyer and seller prospects, and drive them to your website to get any and all real estate related information. I can't tell you how critical this is. You know, I had lived for years in Silicon Valley in an area called Burlingame, California, just outside the San Francisco airport. I can tell you, any of the California agents, it would almost be unfathomable for an agent in Northern California, where people are so tech savvy, not to provide their buyer or seller leads MLS capabilities. Remember, today, most buyers and sellers start their searches prior to ever meeting an agent on the internet. So as soon as you capture that relationship, you want to drive them to your website. And that's something that's really simple to do. Assist your clients in putting together a property search by asking them appropriate questions and then setting them up to get information that's beneficial or useful to them. Number 3 is, when you are out lead generating, I use a prospecting flyer or a prospecting postcard. I keep it in my possession with me at all times, and I distribute it to people when I'm out there in an interest to build my database, when I'm out there prospecting. The goal, again, is to drive people to my website so I could have a conversation and they could say, you know, I'm not interested. I'm absolutely not interested. I'm still going to give them a prospecting flyer, say, great, if you ever happen to have any questions regarding value of your house, or perhaps a home in the area that you may be interested in, please use my website as a sort of information. And remember, when somebody's pushing back on you, no, I don't want to talk, you know, very often it's not about you. Perhaps they're having a bad day. Their kid didn't do their homework, or their dog peed in their rug. At the end of the day, a prospecting flyer gives people direction where to go. And we've actually tested this out previously. I'm sure that many of you live in areas where there are large shopping malls. I'm not telling you to do this. I'm trying to illustrate for you how this would work. But what do you think would happen? I live here in Miami Beach, and I'm right near a shopping center called Bal Harbour. What would happen if I took a prospecting flyer and I put it in the windshield of 1,000 cars at Bal Harbour Shopping Center? What would happen is probably 990 people would say something rough and make a comment that somebody put this in their car, crumple it up, and throw away the paper. But the reality is, I just branded them. But is it safe to say that out of 1,000 people, there are probably 10 people that think, curious what the value of my home is. Or I want to gather some information about perhaps another area, and it gives me an opportunity for them to go on, it gives them an opportunity for them to go on my website and start establishing a relationship. And do you think out of 1,000, perhaps 2 or 3 have an urgent need, a job transfer? They're having more children, need to scale up. Their children are leaving the nest, going off to college, and they need to scale down. They're going through a divorce and they need information that's readily available. You put yourself in a position to secure more business that way. You'll have the prospecting flyer in your inbox this evening. A key to running a good business is a database management system. It is absolutely critical. And people will often say to me, what is the best database management system, or what we call a CRM? And you must have a CRM for a couple of reasons. Number one, if you're not tracking who you're speaking to and the conversations that you're having, you don't know how to move those conversations forward. And you can't run a drip campaign without a good database management system or CRM. So there's a couple that I like, but what do you guys think constitutes a good database management system, a good CRM?
Something that you could use.
Something that's easy, something that is absolutely user-friendly and is really personal. It's almost like wearing a pair of shoes. So for me, somebody who is, in my latter 50s, I'm not super tech savvy. To me, less is more. I don't want a top producer with lots and lots and lots of bells and whistles. I want something that has a calendar associated with it that allows me to track my conversations, knowing when I should follow up, so I can email out of there. So to me, less is more, but it's absolutely imperative that you have a good CRM. Are there any good people? Does anybody on the call today have a CRM system that you absolutely love that you want to share?
Well, how much money do you want to spend?
Tom, who do you use? I know who you use. Yep, talk about it.
Well, I'm using KV Core with EXP. That's part of the brokerage. But before that, I've used the big dogs in the past. Boomtown. I've also used Commissions Inc. And they're great at doing a lot of lead generating and follow up for you within the system. But there's some near free systems, like even say Follow Up Boss is probably one of my most favorite. But the reason I never went to them is because they don't have an IDX feed. They don't do the web page as well in one. And so so there's quite a few. There's a ton of options that are out there that you can look at things. But I think probably the most important thing, in my opinion, is that it does have a web that you're able to have the internet search, so you can email and text message clients' homes from the CRM. But then from that is, if it's got to be user friendly for you to be consistently using it. I know for me, I was an average agent that only sold like 12 to 15 homes a year without a CRM. Once I did that, I went up to about 40 sales a year.
It's excellent, Todd. Excellent.
Huge game changer.
Thanks for your input on that. Anybody else on the call have a CRM system that you really, really like that want to share?
Yeah, Eric, this is Marie in Las Vegas.
Hey, Marie.
And I have one that it's called Referral Maker, and it is with another coaching group, but it keeps my goals online, keeps track of my clients, tells me who to call every day, has a calendar. I can text them from an app on my phone. It tells me if I'm in an area, who I'm nearby, keeps track of all my transactions. And it pretty much does everything. I can text them, I can video text them, I can call them when I'm out and about. So it covers everything, as well as, like I said, keeping track of what my goals are and what my business is. So at any point in time, I know if I'm on track or not.
Excellent. Thank you for sharing that, Marie. So at the end of the day, you're hearing different things, right? So again, a CRM, a database management system, it's pertinent to have. Todd and Marie just kind of talked about that. It allows you to run an organized, it allows you to run a professional real estate business and know who you're communicating with. And again, it's about personal preference. There is no one best system. The system that is the best is the one that helps you run your business the most efficiently. Number 5, you're going to have to become really well-versed in objection handling. And guys and gals, this is what really separates the professionals from the amateurs. And I said this to you before. You hear the same objections over and over. You have a choice to make. You could look at people like a deer in the headlights and think that they're giving you an objection to piss you off, which they're not doing. Or you could be really sympathetic and spiritual and feel like you're extending the olive branch to somebody and assisting them in making a decision. You hear the same objections over and over again. Be prepared for them. Understand that every objection you hear, when you first hear it, and I'm going to do a whole class on this, you isolate by saying other than. And you do that to ensure that you are directing head on what their concern or objection is. But if somebody said to me, for example, Eric, I have a friend in the business. And the more you prospect, you're going to hear people say, you know, you sound great, or you seem like a great guy or great gal, but I have a friend in the business. Anybody on the call today want to try to isolate, handle, and overcome that? Watch. Will, you mind role playing with me? Will, other than having a friend in the business, is there any other reason that you wouldn't consider working with me as your real estate professional? Nah, that's pretty much it, Eric. Well, Will, you owe me nothing. You owe me absolutely nothing. And I'm assuming that you owe your friend friendship. But if you believed that I was the real estate professional that could yield you the results that you wanted, needed, and desired, would you be receptive to working with me? I don't think so, Eric. My friend is my friend, and I don't want to do anything to tarnish or hurt that relationship. Will, I understand. I understand. Wait, did I just lose it here? Yeah, here we go. I understand, Will. But, you know, do you owe your friend, you know, your friend's a real estate professional, but what happens if your friend doesn't provide professional services that meet or exceed your expectations? May I ask, what would happen to your friendship? And is that a risk that you're willing to take? Well, you know, Eric, my friend's a great agent. He's been doing it for 30 years. I understand, Will. Then can you be in any better position than to simply compare and contrast the level of services that your friend is willing to provide versus what I'm able to provide to see which one is going to provide you with the results that you ultimately desire? Aren't you in an enviable position? I have an availability for us to speak either tomorrow or on Thursday, or typically the early mornings, the latter part of the afternoons, better for you. People say to me, Eric, were you a good real estate agent? I don't know. I know that I was prepared, that when I heard an objection, I knew precisely how to isolate it, handle it, and overcome it by asking appropriate questions. I gave you the same analogy before. Are you willing to negotiate your commission? Other than my professional fee for service, is there any other reason that you wouldn't do business with me? No, that's pretty much it. Well, if I can't negotiate my own commission successfully and my own professional fee for successfully, do you really want me negotiating your home on your behalf? Well, the other agent, Will Estrada, said he'd do it for 4%. I understand. If Will is so readily willing to cut his commission, how readily willing might he be to cut your asking price when negotiating with the agent that's representing the buyer? Well, you know, the difference between 4 and 6% is a lot of money. It's a lot of money. And I need to put that money in my pocket. I understand. And I hate to equate one's house to one's health. But for the purpose of this exercise, if you don't mind, if you had to go in, God forbid, for a heart operation, and there were 3 cardiovascular surgeons in the room, and the average fee to operate in your heart, and the first doctor stood up and said, you know what, and the average fee to operate in your heart was $10,000. And the first doctor stood up and said, you know what, I'm a good doctor, I'll do it for $5,000. You may be a little apprehensive about having that doctor operate you. Would you agree? The second doctor stood up and said, the average fee to operate you is $10,000. I'm a good doctor, and that's exactly what I'll charge you. Probably make you feel more comfortable. But if the third doctor was bold enough to stand up and look you in the eye and say, I'm the best cardiovascular surgeon in the world, and my fee to operate on you is $20,000, but I'll save your life, may I ask, what would you do? Then why would you do anything else differently with your home? Why would you work with a professional that had to buy your business to earn your business? Don't you and your property deserve more than that? Guys, these are scripts. And the more you practice them, it's like riding a bicycle, the better that you'll become. And when you hear an objection going forward, instead of feeling uncomfortable, you'll realize that this is simply a pathway to a sale. And when you could speak with a sense of confidence, you'll put the people at ease that you're speaking with in a much better place to embrace your product or service. Qualifying scripts. This is one of your homework assignments for this evening. I'm going to give you 2 qualifying scripts. One is your expired script, and the other is what you call the general prospecting script. It is important to build out a database that is not convoluted. It is important to build out a database that gives each and every one of you a sense of confidence knowing that you're building a vibrant business. It's not about the deals that you do this month. It's about the business that you build long-term so you can get paid in perpetuity. The market is in fact going to change. It is absolutely changing. And the hardest thing is waking up in the morning and looking outside our vast windows and looking out at the world and thinking, where do I find the next needle in the haystack? Where do I find that buyer? Where do I find that seller? If somebody's home expired from the multiple listing service, you know exactly who to contact. I want you to practice on how to approach those people with the expired script. And it works the following way. You know, hello, you and your home is important enough that I actually wanted to come out here and meet you face to face. Were you aware that your home has recently expired from multiple listing service and is no longer on the market? Yeah, we knew that. Well, may I ask, then you also know that your home isn't available to be shown. Are you still interested in selling the property? Nah, we're not interested anymore. I understand. If I happen to have a qualified buyer that was willing to pay you a price that was acceptable, would you consider selling the property? Well, do you have a qualified buyer? Well, you know, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, there's no such thing as a qualified buyer until I know what the seller has and what the buyer wants. What I do have is the opportunity to come by and preview your property. Is typically today in the latter part of the afternoon or sometime tomorrow midday better for you? Hey, wait a minute, cowboy. My home was on the market for 6 months. I never recall you seeing the property. What scam are you pulling here? Why are you coming and telling me that you have a buyer? Why didn't you show it was on the market? You know, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, it's a great question. I'm sure you're aware that there are literally thousands of homes that come on and off a real estate market. Would you agree? Would you also agree that it would be virtually impossible for me, you, for anybody for that matter, to know all of the inventory, nor of all of those homes? Mr. and Mrs. Seller, do you know the main responsibility, the most critical component of being a good listing agent? It's to get the other agents excited about bringing through their qualified buyers. Do you know the reason I didn't show your property? Is that unfortunately, nobody got me that excited. However, I'll be sure not to make that same mistake. That script netted me millions of dollars, millions of dollars. Why would you be in real estate and not pull up expired listings each and every day? It's like somebody doing naked jumping jacks, waving a flag saying, look at me, look at me, look at me. Your audience has been identified for you. Take the time to internalize the expired script. I also want you to go out to Federal Express, and I want you to grab as many of their envelopes as they're going to give you, and they'll give you as many as you can carry. Do you know why they'll do that? Because every time you pass out one of their envelopes, you're in fact branding Federal Express. And what you're going to do is you're going to take your pre-listing packet, which I'm going to give to you, I think that's on our 4th or 5th class. You're going to put it inside a Federal Express envelope along with an expired letter. And you're going to leave it butted up against the seller's door. Because when they come home and see a Federal Express package butted up against their door, what are they going to do? And the answer is they're going to open it. Now, you're not going to go out to the home.
Eric, I'm sorry for interrupting. Does FedEx let you take the shipping envelopes for free?
You could take the shipping envelopes for free. You're not going to pay FedEx. You're going to grab as many of their envelopes as you can carry, because again,
Dude, that's just mind blowing. That's great. I've been wasting all this money on manila envelopes.
Remember, every time that you pass out their envelope, I mean, why does FedEx spend millions of dollars on a Super Bowl commercial? It's to brand.
Right.
Well, every time you pass out one of their envelopes, you're in fact branding for them. So you're going to
fantastic. Mind blown already.
You're gonna take the information, you're gonna put it in a Federal Express envelope and leave it butted up against the door. You're not gonna go out to the house, knock on the door, drop the envelope and run. Yeah, I used to do that as a kid. The goal is to have a conversation. In the event they're not home, you're going to leave the package for them. The other qualifying script is my main script. It's what I am known for in the industry, and it is called, appropriately, the general prospecting script. What are the initials of a general prospecting script? Well, it's clearly GPS. And I want you to think about this. What does a GPS device do?
Tells you where you are.
GPS device gives you directions. So you clearly can get from one place to another. Your general prospecting script is your GPS device to build out a strong and solid database, so it gives you the comfort of knowing that you've got a viable business. It points your business in the right direction. The general prospecting script is how you are going to engage most people. And you are going to learn the general prospecting script for the following reasons. It's going to keep you on track. It's going to allow you to control the conversation. And it's going to allow you to gather necessary information so you can make an empowering decision whether or not, you want to spend the time, effort, and resources trying to enhance a relationship with the person that you're spoken to. We're going to empower you by learning to ask the right questions. You now can determine if you want to spend the time, effort, and resources moving that relationship forward. See, who you're talking to is not in control. You get to be in control based on how they ask the questions. Make sense? So I want you to think of a pendulum. I do this in a live class all the time. I want you to think of a pendulum. I'm actually going to stop sharing this for a second. You can see my body language here. I want you to think of a pendulum. A pendulum moves, right? It looks like I've got a disease all of a sudden. A pendulum moves, right, in great gyrations, right? Is it easier to hit a moving target or a stationary target, Michael Friedman? Is it easier to hit a moving or a stationary target? Michael's like, Eric, really? I'm muted, dude. Come on.
I had to unmute. It's easier to hit a non-moving target.
So I'm going to ask question after question after question after question. So Pedro, I put that person in a bullseye, and I can determine whether or not I want to invite them into my database so I can start a drip campaign and move that relationship forward. Okay?
All right.
I typically use the general prospecting script around the following: my open houses, expired listings, properties that have just been listed or sold. I start every conversation not thinking how I could earn a commission, but how I could provide value to somebody, how I could give them something, how I could give them something of value, which will earn me the opportunity to ask them a few questions to see if I could be of service. It's almost like spiritually, like just, it's so nice to say that. I want to provide someone of value, which will earn me the opportunity to ask questions to see if I could potentially be of service. So I always start off with a benefit. How can I give? So this is how I set up the general prospecting script. If it's around open houses, okay? Hi, Jim, my name is Eric. I'm with ABC Real Estate Company. Jim, were you aware that your neighbor's home is on the market down the street at 1313 Mockingbird Lane? Yeah, Eric, I think we knew that. Well, I wanted to bring to your attention, were you aware that the home is actually being held open this Sunday? Well, Jim, I was simply stopping by to invite you into the property, for you to stop by the property, to see if perhaps you happen to know of a friend, a relative, or a coworker who may have an interest in moving to our neighborhood. That's called a similar situation close. Jim, by any chance, would you be available to pop by the open house Sunday from 1 to 4 p.m.? Guys, is there anything that I said honestly that was offensive there?
No.
I simply invited someone to an open house for the purpose of asking them the general prospect, taking the general prospect. And I do the same around an expired, Jim. Hey, Jim, my name is Eric. Were you aware that your neighbor's home had been on the market down the street at 1313 Mockingbird Lane? Jim, I simply want to bring to your attention that property has recently expired, meaning, unfortunately, no buyer, nobody purchased the property. And Jim, I was wondering if I could ask for your assistance. I'd actually like to be the real estate professional that sells your neighbor's home. Jim, by any chance, do you happen to know of any friends, relatives, or coworkers that want to move to the area? Guys, anything offensive what I said? You're strong, I'm weak, can you help me? Scenario number 3, property comes on the market or property just sold. Let's say a property is sold. Hey, Jim, my name is Eric. I'm with ABC Real Estate Company. Hey, Jim, sorry to bother you, but I want to stop by. Were you aware that your neighbor's home had been on the market at 1313 Mockingbird Lane? Jim, well, the property just actually closed. And I don't know if you're aware of this or not, the home actually sold for $40,000 more than it was listed for, which is a 2.5% increase of what property sold at just 12 short months ago. Isn't that amazing? Jim, what transpired, there were several buyers that were looking at that property that are actually still looking in the area right now. Right? So I'm setting this up. All of this leads me to the general prospecting script. Watch, I'm going to start with a for sale by owner. So Jim, would you be available to pop by the property on Sunday from 1 to 4 to see if perhaps you happen to know of a friend, relative, or coworker that wants to move to the area? Yes, no, maybe so. I don't care what they say. Watch how I respond. You know, Jim, I'm committed to reaching out to 200 of the surrounding neighbors and asking them the same question. If they, in fact, perhaps know of any friends, relatives, or coworkers that may have an interest in moving to our neighborhood. Having said that, Jim, so Jim's a seller. I'm going around the open house and I'm telling Jim that I'm going to pose to 200 people the question if they know of any friends, relative, or coworkers. Jim, common sense would dictate that I'm going to identify a new group of buyers. Would you agree? Yeah, pretty certain, Eric. Having said that, what would I ask Jim? I have buyers. Jim is a seller. Jim?
If he wants to sell.
You bet. Jim, any thought to selling your home now or in the near future? Watch. Remember that pendulum, it's wide. Any thought to buying or selling your home, any thought to selling your home now or in the near future? Nah, I don't think so. Jim, how about within the next 2 years? Yeah, well, potentially within the next 2 years. Sounds good. Jim, any consideration if that would be in the next 12 months or perhaps the following 12 months? Yeah, well, my wife and I were talking potentially about putting our home in the market the following 12 months. Any indication if that would be in the early or latter part of the year? So what I hear you saying, Jim, is you're actually thinking about, you're contemplating selling your house in about 18 months. I didn't tell Jim. Jim told me based on the strength of the questions that I asked. Now I want you to think, Jim just indicated to me, based on my questions, Noel, that he may sell in 18 months. I want you to think, Chris, Lisa, we're sitting in a bar. And Jim says to me, Eric, I am thinking about moving. He indicates, based on the question, that he's going to move in 18 months. What's the second question that I would ask him? Don't formalize, don't overthink about it. Hey, you're going to be moving. What's the next question? Who, what, when, where, why? Jim, what would I ask you?
When?
When? No, that's, you're looking like a realtor. We're having a friend, we're in a bar. Jim, where are you moving to?
Where are you moving?
Where are you moving to? Jim just indicated to me that he's moving in 18 months. Jimmy, I asked, where are you moving to? Oh, you're moving to Miami Beach, Florida. Excellent. Jim just indicated to me, based on the strength of the questions that I asked, not told, that he knows when he's moving and know where he's moving to. Jim, I'm not funny like this, but may I ask, is Jim a potential hot date? You're damn right he is. He's a diamond in the rough. Based on my questions, he just indicated when and where he's moving. What is the third question I would want to ask Jim? I know when he's moving. I know where he's moving. That pendulum's still moving. I know when and where, but I don't know if I want to work with him. I need to understand his
why.
His why.
So what should I do? Don't tell him his why. I should
ask, why are you moving there?
Jim, why are you moving? Jim's getting job transferred. Jim is getting job transferred. I know when Jim is moving, where Jim is moving, and I now know why Jim is moving. Am I willing to invest my time, effort, and resources into enhancing this relationship? Well, you bet I am. What's the fourth question I would want to ask? When, where, why? This is all going to be broken down for you. When, where, why? What's the fourth question I would want to gather from my friend Jim? When, where, why? What's the next common?
Who are you going to work with there?
How are you going to get there, Michael? Attaboy. How is Jim going to get to Miami Beach? Watch. I'm going to dangle a feature and benefit. Remember, selling is about features and benefits. Jimmy, you're currently working with a top realtor in the Miami Beach area to ensure that you have a smooth and fundamentally sound transaction. Here we go. Here's my benefit of working with Eric Orland. Jim, one of the high-level services I provide as a real estate professional is I've comprised a list of the top agents in the country to ensure that you have a quality transaction. These are the agents that do the most business and therefore are most familiar with the inventory so they can get you the most value for your dollar and identify the most suitable property. Do you see the benefit of working with an agent like this? This is called a trial close. I'm embedding myself in the middle of the selling cycle. Jim now can't move without me. It's not about the referral fee. Jim and I are locked in. I've now become the referral agent. So I know now Jim's when, where, why, and how, but I have to capture his contact information. Now, if I said to Jim, hey, Jim, what's your phone number? He'd say to me, get lost, creepy. Nobody gives away contact information today. So what do I have to do to abstract, to gather Jim's contact information? I've got to provide him something that is both compelling and beneficial. So Jim, watch how I set this up. Very important. Jim, I'm sure you're aware that the real estate market fluctuates just like the stock market, correct? I'm sure you're aware that 6-7 years ago, we hit a trough in the market where prices fell through the floor, and more recently, prices have escalated through the ceiling. So we know the market's forever changing, correct? Jim, what I'd like to do is keep you abreast of what's going on with the real estate activity in your area. So if I see anything that impacts the value of your home, I'm in a position to reach out to you so we could take the appropriate course of action and properly secure that equity. Does that make sense? Jim, in the event I need to reach out to you, what is the best telephone number for me to reach you at? And then I'm going to grab his email information. I now know Jim's when, where, why, how. I have his contact information, but what don't I know? Chris Johnson, what don't I know?
You don't know anything about his house, the value of his house, what he's going to be looking for down in Florida.
Not yet, because it's 18 months away, Chris.
Yep.
I don't know if Jim wants to date me.
Yeah.
I don't know if Jim is interested in having a professional working relationship. So what should I do? I'm going to ask him.
Ask him. Yeah, he's giving you your contact information.
I'm going to ask him, Chris, by simply saying the following. Watch. It's so transparent. There's nothing to read between the line. It's a 2x4 right to the head. Jim, in an effort to be transparent, my name again is Eric Orland. I'm a real estate professional. And I'd like to put myself in a position when you are ready to move, I'd like to put myself in a position to ultimately earn your business. Between now and when you move to Miami in 18 months, I'd like to build a relationship so you know who I am and the high level of services I provide to my clients in an effort to get you the results you seek. Hey, Jim, are you comfortable with what I'm proposing? He's already given me all his contact information. There's only one reason why Jim would say no. I have a, come on, Will.
Relative in the business.
Friends.
What is that, guys?
Objection.
It's an objection, which is a pathway to a sale. Do you know how many times in my real estate career somebody said I have a friend in the business? I understand, Jim. And other than having a friend in the business, is there any other reason you wouldn't consider doing business with me? Jim, I understand you owe me nothing. You owe your friend friendship, I assume. Is that correct? Don't you owe yourself the best professional representation you can provide? If you believe that I was a realtor that could secure you the results that you wanted, needed, and desired, would you be open-minded about working with me? No, my friend's my friend. I don't want to do anything to tarnish that relationship. I understand, Jim. Does being someone's friend require you to hire them to do a professional service that they may, but may not be up to the task of doing? What happens if your friend doesn't perform at a high level and meet your expectations when given the responsibility of selling your most important asset? What would happen if your friend doesn't perform at the level you expect? What would that do to your friendship? And is that a risk you're willing to take? Guys, do you know how many times somebody has said to me, Eric, I have a friend in the business and they ultimately wind up being my client? That objection is a pathway to a sale. I'm going to ask you to internalize the general prospecting script so you can now be the captain of your business and the captain of your own ship and build out a clean and convoluted database. So your time and effort is now spent working with people who are worthy of you communicating with them. Make sense?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Please. That doesn't mean, I want to say something to you. So what's going to happen is if you don't internalize some of the scripts, many of you are going to go, oh, the hell with it. I'm not going to go back on the call. Don't put yourself in that position. Take the time over the next couple of days and teach yourself something new. Learn this script so you can go out there with a sense of confidence. How do you think it's going to make you feel? Instead of having yet another setback, oh shit, I procrastinated and I didn't do something, you're better than that. Make this time different. You can do this. Okay?
I love it because this approach answers the all-important "what's in it for me" question. Before anybody wants to do business with salespeople, they need to know what's in it for them. A great example is like if you go to Macy's or go to the store, right? I mean, you walk in and the salespeople ask you, "Hey, can I help you with anything?" Their initial response is, "Nope, no thanks, I'm good." I mean, we're all guilty of it until we know that they really want to help us and care for us. And so by this approach that you're doing, Eric, I think it really just, I mean, it basically hits them right between the eyes.
It does. It does. I know we're running out of time, guys. I'll have you off in 2 minutes. I just went through your goal setting. It is your responsibility between now and Wednesday to fill out your economic model. We will send you out a template. We'll send you out an invite to do a one-on-one appointment with me. But I want you to try to put together your economic model. Again, if you get stuck, please call me. You all have my phone number. If you need anything, 415-595-9000. Number 8, essential tool to have is time management. I am going to tell you, I am going to spend half a class talking about calendar and time blocking. If you are not honoring your calendar, you're not honoring your time. If you're not honoring your time, you're not honoring your profession. If you're not honoring your profession, you're not honoring the quality of your life. You can't say to somebody, treat me as a professional because that's how I want you to treat me. Your actions will predicate who you are and how someone treats you. We're going to spend a whole class talking about time blocking because every time that you waste, you're only hurting yourself. And you wouldn't do that if you were working for an employer and receiving a paycheck. Well, folks, you are receiving a paycheck. You're paying yourself. You need to remember that your calendar is something that you own. And every moment that you choose to waste, that has a significant consequence to it. You're better than that. You're better than that. And I said this before, if you always do what you always did, you'll always get what you always got. Do something differently so you can have the success you want. It doesn't happen by accident. It happens by taking action and being committed to making a difference. And the last thing is building a team. And I talked about that. That will be actually the last lesson I do. It will absolutely change the whole outlook of your business. In building a team, I use interns. I use an administrative assistant who makes my organization 4 times what I pay them because I give them the opportunity to help me grow my business, aside from just paying them a salary. But remember that in building out a team, you can't build out a team unless you master the tools and systems that I talked about in these essential documents. You can't say to somebody, do as I say, not as I do. It's like talking to our children when they finally just tune us out. Guys, I want to say to you, I really, really appreciate the 2 hours you spent with me. The next class will be Wednesday, Friday, and then Monday, Wednesday, and Friday of the next week. It's 2 hours. I hope that you'll continue the path. I'm here to assist you in every way possible. I'll close by saying the following. I'm a big John Wooden disciple. John Wooden was the ex-basketball coach at UCLA. To call him a coach is completely disrespectful. John Wooden was one of the great teachers of our society. There's not a professional or collegiate coach or manager that doesn't cite him religiously. Presidents talk about him. There are post offices and libraries named after him. Not only was he the most successful basketball coach, but he was phenomenal. He was just a great human being. There were so many lessons that he taught us. He created the pyramid of success, which today in any Fortune 500 company, talks about many of Wooden's principles. But Wooden, being the greatest basketball coach in the history of collegiate sports, used to say to every player at UCLA, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Bill Walton, Marcus Johnson, I can go on and on. He used to say to them, gentlemen, make today your masterpiece. Folks, make today your masterpiece. Because you're not making each and every day a masterpiece. It's a train wreck. And it kind of leads me to think about what's happening in our world right now. Sorry, with the rioting and the way the crazy political climate where we're just attacking each other as human beings. If you're not making each and every day a masterpiece, the opposite of a masterpiece is a train wreck. And there's no need for you to live a life like that. It's a lot easier to take the tools and the principles that I'm teaching in this class and apply them than beating the living crap out of yourself. Make each and every day going forward a masterpiece. You're worthy of that. And your kids deserve to see that, or your significant others deserve to see that. Because we can't say to our kids, be great, strive for everything you want in your life, and not lead by example. That's hypocritical. Thank you for being with me for 2 hours. I look forward to seeing you on Wednesday. And again, please feel to reach out for those of you that need me. Anybody want to wrap up by asking any questions or comments?
This has been great, Eric. Thank you for doing this.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you for participating, Patty.
Yeah, my comment too, Eric, is welcome back. You're doing
Thanks,
what you
Vicky.
keep doing. It was great.
Thanks. You guys make it great. Because like I said, I'm passionate about what I do. And if there wasn't people like yourself participating, like I said before, I don't know what I would do with myself. So thank you and have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Eric.
Thank you.
Take care,
Awesome.
Eric.
Thanks,
Can't
Eric.
wait till Wednesday.
Thank you,
See you
Eric.
Wednesday.
Thank you. See you Wednesday.